you. And it's my honor to be here and to be a keynote speaker for this conference. My name is Marko, and I'm 20 years old. I do backends and I do desktops. I've been working remotely since I was 20. I never had an office job. I was freelancing. Basically, I started freelancing while I was on the college. Many of you wonder how I got an idea and how I made the decision to do this. I was living in Belgrade, and I had like a regular college job, regular college life. I was studying computer sciences here, and when I was 20, I figured out I could use my knowledge to do some stuff. So that's how I started working over Upwork. I started working over freelancer.com, over obvious sites that the sites I suggest that everyone can start working from. And I did this for several years. And when I was 24, I figured out that I'm not really happy in Belgrade anymore. And by that time sorry. By that time, I already had a pretty big portfolio for freelancing, and that's when I asked my question: what do I really want to do? Do I want to stay on the college, and do I want to live the life in Belgrade, or I can utilize the advantage that I'm working from home, I'm working remotely, and I can maybe travel. So one of my clients that I was working back then, he was from Finland, and I had him on Facebook. He was at that moment he was my ex-client because I finished working for him, and I saw that he moved to Thailand, and so I was thinking like this guy moved to Thailand, and then I messaged him. I was thinking, I told him like, why did you move to Thailand? Why didn't you stay in Finland? And he told me I moved to Thailand, to Chiang Mai, because that's the place that has the biggest amount of freelancers in Asia. And I mean, Thailand is a great place to live. There's no winter. And so that's how I got an idea. I was like, okay, if this guy can do it, I can do it too. So that was when I was 24. I think it was 2014. It was in January or February. That's when I got the idea to do this. And the obvious question is, okay, you want to start a digital nomad life, where should you go? Personally, for me, it was Asia, no questions, because I wanted to go to some place which has highest concentrations of digital nomads, and that was Chiang Mai, and it still is Chiang Mai right now in Asia. That's, I think there's like maybe 20,000 people in that city that do this kind of work. And that's I decided to go to Chiang Mai. After I decided to go, there was obviously there were challenges in preparations phase. First and foremost, family and friends. Personally, for me, I was young, so I didn't have any ties to Serbia except my family. But I didn't have a wife, I didn't have kids. Obviously, for some guys here, it may be different. So that can be, potentially that can be a challenge to sort out. But for me, this was not a big issue. And the next thing for me, which was actually a challenge, was studies. I was still on the college, and I had to decide if do I still want to stay in Belgrade for a few years and finish the college, or I should just move to Thailand. And yeah, so I said, okay, like I don't really want to spend a few more years for the college degree because I don't actually really need it as a freelancer. And I figured out that I'll finish it once I can come back to Serbia a few years after that. The next thing is existing work. If you already work for some company and you have a team that you work for example, if you're in Europe and you work for USA, there's like 6 to 9 hours overlap, I think. 6 to 9 hours difference, sorry. And if you move to some other place to start traveling as a digital nomad, if you move to Thailand, for example, that difference can be like 12 hours, which can be an issue. because if you have to be there at like 1 p.m. in USA, that's probably like 2 a.m. in Thailand, so that's not really convenient. So I suggest that if you come to this idea to move to some place, this can be an issue. So you have to figure that out. If I move to some place, can I actually still work for the same company? Can I still work with the same clients? Can I still meet the requirements that my client wants? And of course, there's obvious stuff like visas. With Serbian passport, it's really not that easy to get visas for different countries. Like with American passport, you can just go in Thailand, you have a visa on arrival, which is valid for 1 month. So you basically can just move there and get a visa on the border. With Serbian passport, you will need to get visas beforehand. It's not a huge problem, it's not unresolvable, but you need to plan ahead. For example, when I was in Thailand, I spent first time I went there, I spent 6 months, and then I decided, okay, I want to go to Indonesia. That was with a Serbian passport. I had to go to Bangkok to get visa for the Indonesia, and then I had to go to, I could go to Indonesia. If I had a different passport, it will be easier. But my point here is that this is not it's not impossible, you just have to plan ahead. Another thing is luggage. When I was living in Belgrade, I was there since I was 18, so that was 6 years. I had a lot of stuff. I had a PC, I had my desk, I had my bed, I had everything. So when I was moving to another apartment, I had to rent a truck and to move all the stuff. Obviously, you cannot do this when you travel, so I had to reduce all this to one big backpack that you can carry around with yourself. And it was a bit intimidating at first because you're just used to live at one place and you have so many stuff that you're used to, and then you're thinking, okay, like I need to reduce my life to one big backpack now. So when I moved, I was planning, okay, I should bring like 6 t-shirts, 5 flip-flops, blah, blah, blah. But after I got used to it, it's kind of liberating right now because all your like life belongings are in one backpack. And right now, even now when I'm in Serbia, I just travel with my backpack. And I think I really like it right now, that style of life. Obviously, when you move to different sides of the world, I think it's natural that every human has doubts and fears. Personally, for me, in my case, it was, before I moved to Thailand, I was just living a normal life in Serbia. I had vacations and everything, but it was like somewhere nearby for 2 weeks, for a few weeks. Then you go back to Belgrade. And this was something different. So you basically moved to another continent to live. And I didn't know really what to expect there because it was a completely new world. So that was a bit, I was a bit worried if I'll adapt to the new environment. What should I expect there? How the people are gonna be there? Am I gonna fit in? But I think this is all normal. And my another fear or doubt was, will I actually make connections there? I knew that this place has lots of freelancers, but I had no idea how those things work there. Do they have meetings, how they function, and how will I meet these people? So that's what I was worried about. I didn't have doubts about work or money, because I was already freelancing for 4 years at that point, and I had experience about how to get work and how to find clients. And by that point, I was pretty established between the freelancer community, and I was not working over the sites anymore. I was just working for the same clients, and I was using word of mouth with those clients. They recommended me to other clients, and that's how I was looking for work. So I was not really worried about will I have work or no. And before I moved, I had a bit of savings, like a safety net. So in any case, I decided, okay, I'm gonna move here, and if the remote thing doesn't work out, I can always come back to Serbia. And at the worst case, I'll just have an experience that I went there, and I'm back to Serbia, and that's it. So I didn't have doubts about work or money. And I think if anyone here decides to do this, if you plan ahead accordingly, this shouldn't be an issue. And yeah, so then I moved. I took a flight to Thailand. It was in August. And I want to talk about a few stuff here that probably most of you are thinking how to do. How to adapt to that environment. First thing I want to talk about is how to find an accommodation. This is not so much work related, but I find it important. Personally, for me, if you move to a new city, new country where you don't know anyone, and you want to make some friends, you want to see how the city works, you want to get recommendations. For me, the best method was to rent a hostel for a few days. If I move to some city where I don't know anyone, you rent a hostel for a week, and during that week, you can always meet people. You always meet people in hostels, and you can ask for the recommendations where to find the apartments in that city, where to find different stuff that you need, what are the normal prices for the apartments. Because if you do like Airbnb and you do Expedia or similar sites, you can find great places, but they're usually overpriced. So that's what I did. When I moved to Chiang Mai, I booked a hostel for a week. And then with help of my client, actually my ex-client that was there, we drove around in his car, and we just found an accommodation where I stayed for the next six months. Another thing is culture difference. Asia is like completely different. Asian people are completely different than Europeans. They're much nicer at the first place, but yeah, after you're there for a bit, then you realize there's some weird stuff. It's not weird, just their culture. For example, if you're on the street and you don't know the directions to somewhere, and then you ask someone, okay, like I don't know, I need where's the swimming pool that you're looking for? And even if he doesn't know, he's not going to tell you that he doesn't know. He's just going to show you like he's rather going to show you the wrong direction, and he's going to tell you, yeah, it's here. But he's like, they're pretty ashamed, I guess, to say they don't know something. And that's a bit weird. Yeah. Making friends. So yeah, this was probably my biggest concern when I moved there, because I moved there with intention to meet other digital nomads, to meet like-minded people. My suggestion, if anyone here decides to do this, the best method that worked for me is Facebook. Every bigger city that has concentration of digital nomads has a Facebook group that's specifically called, for example, if you move to Bangkok, you have a group on Facebook that's called Bangkok Digital Nomads. You can join this group, and there are like probably like, I don't know, like 100,000 people in that group. And so I joined before I moved to Thailand, I joined the group called Chiang Mai Digital Nomads. And I did a bit of research there. I saw what people do there. I saw what people write. And then I figured out they have these weekly meetings. They organize like weekly lunches, digital nomad lunches. Sorry. So I was thinking, okay, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go there, and I'm going to visit these events, and this is how I'm going to make friends. And that's exactly what I did. I went to this lunch. I remember it was my second week in Chiang Mai. And we went to a lunch. There were like 20 people around the table, and they were all doing freelance work. Something that, I mean, you cannot, this doesn't happen in Belgrade. And that's how I instantly made new friends, and since then, the snowball just started rolling. Who are digital nomads? They're just like regular people. I met so many people from different sides of the world that you will never say like that he will become a digital nomad. I met people that came from Philippines that had like $100 in their pocket, and they just moved to Chiang Mai to be an entrepreneur, and they made it. So you just really meet like a lot of people that are from different sides of the world. I met a guy who works in Afghanistan as a soldier for 6 months, and then he does digital nomading for next 6 months. So yeah, it's a wide variety of people. When you meet these people, you can also make business connections with them. Because personally, I'm doing developer stuff. I'm doing backends and desktops. Most of the people I met there are actually not developers. Most of the people that you will meet if you travel are doing, from my experience, internet marketing, and they sell stuff over Amazon FBA. I will say maybe 75% of the people do this, but you can still make, you can still collaborate with these people if they need some tools that will help them. You can collaborate with them. Yeah, so this was, I don't know, this was like first month when I went there, and this is actually the one of the events I was talking about. This was in Chiang Mai, and they created an event on Facebook to go to a local waterfall on Sunday. So there were like 40 people that we went there with motorbikes, and that's how you meet people here. These guys are like all around from, this girl is actually, that's the Filipino girl I was talking about. This guy is from USA, that girl is from New Zealand, I think, I'm not sure. And most of you that didn't do remote work, didn't do digital nomad thing, they probably have some expectations, and they have some doubts on how it's going to turn out. So before I went there, I was also, as I talked before about this, about my doubts and fears, I was also worried, and I was also thinking, is this going to be worth it or no? And there are many advantages to this kind of the work. There are disadvantages too. Obviously, advantages are that you get to see the world. You get to see some places that you will never see otherwise. You meet so many different people that are like that you cannot meet them anywhere in the world elsewhere, that do so many stuff that just doesn't exist here, for example. And it helps you grow as a person, because you widen your, you widen your perspective about things. But after 4 or 5 years of doing this, first few years I was thinking, okay, this is perfect. I'm going to do this until the end of my life. And this comes down to a person too. So maybe some people, I know some guys that do this for like 40. They're like 40 years old and they still do it. So they do it like for 20, 25 years. But personally, after a few years, after 4 or 5 years of traveling and changing country every 3 months or so, it gets exhausting. And you meet so many people that initially it's great, but then after a few years, you realize you're actually not making any meaningful connections with people, because you meet people and then you leave after 3 months, and then you don't see them again probably ever, or you see them like in a few years. So it can get kind of lonely, because after a few years of doing this, I landed in another country, and I was not, I won't say I was not excited, but I was like, oh, I have to meet people again. Yeah. So yeah, if you just come to another country, you have to do it like it's a circle that you always repeat. This is the group of a group of digital nomads. It was also taken in Thailand. Where to work as a digital nomad? If you do an office job, obviously you work from an office. You work 9 to 5. It's easy. Personally, my 2 favorite spots to work are coffee shops and co-working places. I like to wake up in the morning. You go to a local coffee shop, and you can just work there for the whole day. You order food there, you order coffee. And if you're in some city which has a big concentration of digital nomads, there are always people. For example, I spent most of my time in Chiang Mai. Any coffee shop you go to, there's going to be people that do freelance work. You see them on laptops, you can always talk to them, you can always meet them. This is not the case for all the cities, but for example, Chiang Mai, yeah. Another thing are co-working places. I would say they're pretty similar to coffee shops, except they're more specialized. There are no random people there. It's exactly like this. It's a co-working place, which some of them are free, some of them you pay subscription. They usually have free coffee or whatever, and you can work from there. One of my favorite co-working places, it was free, and you just go there. It was just a coffee shop, but it was not open for other people. It was just open for digital nomads. And yeah, there are other ways to work too. I know some people that work from home. Personally, I don't like working from home because I feel pretty lonely at the home. And anywhere else. Obviously, you can work from the beach, but this picture looks nice, but yeah, I don't think you can work from the beach all the time. This is one of my favorite co-working places. It's a huge library, which is open for everyone. It works 24 hours. And you can see that Asian students come here to work too, but you can also come there and work from your laptop. How to find clients? I started doing finding clients over freelance sites when I was 20, Upwork, freelancer.com, Odesk, while it still existed. But there are downsides to these sites because they don't really value your time, and it's great to start. If you're fresh, it's great to start, but after a while you realize that there's no way you can get the salary you want over these sites. And the competition is so cutthroat that you just can't compete with people that charge $5 per hour. It's impossible. And so after you get more advanced, I will suggest job boards and platforms. Job boards are great. They're basically the companies publish. You guys know what the job boards are. They publish the work, the job openings there. You can apply. You can get the remote work there. The platforms are similar to job boards, but they're like very streamlined. Some of the most known are, some guys work here for it, TopTal, Gigster, Pilot, and this is my personal favorite. I work for TopTal and Gigster right now, and I'm pretty satisfied with it. The last way is networking, word of mouth, getting recommendations from the clients. And I would like to talk about how to manage lifestyle and business at the same time. Personally, for me, if you get, for example, if you get an interview for some new work, new job, and the client says, okay, we're from USA and you're in Thailand, there's 12-hour overlap, and I will need you to be there at 10 a.m. our time to talk with the team for the next 3 hours. That's, let's say, it's like you have to be there at 7 p.m. until 11 p.m. Thailand time, and for some people this is okay. Some people are fine with this. Personally, I'm not fine with this, so I prefer to work in the mornings. And this is the point where you have to decide, okay, is this contract really worth my sacrificing my social life in the evenings for 5 days a week? If it's a great contract, why not? But usually I decline this kind of the contracts. And this is why my philosophy here is to tailor business around my lifestyle instead the other way around, to tailor my lifestyle around the business. And yeah, it can be tricky to find the balance between these two points. That's all.